Okay, to bring this all home, more light, more plant growth, how to measure it, all that. The reason it's so important is, for one, light costs money to supply. But for another, plants aren't that efficient at using incoming solar radiation to grow. So we've got this figure 30.3 in this book. You can find it here. So basically, if we have all total sunshine coming in, 50% of it is just straight not absorbed. It's light that plants don't use. So we already lost half of it. Some of it reflection and transmission. So this is light it could use, but isn't able to absorb it. Reflected, it's coming in, hitting the leaf and bouncing off before the leaf can use it. Transmission, it's coming in, hitting the leaf and going through, not hitting any chloroplasts to be turned into, to be harnessed by the plant and turned into sugars. Heat dissipation, so light is part heat, and so some of that light energy coming in is just the plant trying to shed that heat itself. 20% metabolism, so that's just maintenance. A full fifth of incoming solar light, incoming solar radiation, is used by a plant simply to continue to exist. This is like your own, you and our base metabolic rate, our the resting number of calories you need to just exist, not even to do anything, but just to sit on the couch. You need a certain amount to just continue to exist and run your systems. Same with a plant. It needs a certain amount just to continue to exist. So here we go. This tiny little piece down here, 5% of incoming solar radiation gets turned into carbohydrates. And that depends on whose research you're looking at. These people say 5%. I've seen some estimates down to 1%. So between 1 and 5% of incoming light is absorbed by the plant to produce more of that plant, to produce that crop that we all want. It's not very much. However, this image does reveal a few secrets on how supplemental lighting could potentially be more effective or efficient than solar radiation. So the big easy one is that our supplemental lights don't have to be the sun. They don't have to replicate the sun. 50% lost right here. So right here, this 50%, our artificial lights don't have to supply non-absorbed wavelengths. In fact, I really recommend you get lights that don't supply non-absorbed wavelengths. Like, that's the whole point. Otherwise, you are turning on a light just to brighten up the plant, but not actually energize it. So this is kind of like our own move with light bulbs. Incandescents were on, they created light, but they created a lot of heat. It was a lot of waste, stuff that didn't become light that we could see. Where LEDs, a lot of light, not much waste heat. So we're moving away, we're trying to get into this efficiency. We just want to see, so we just try to supply light that we can see and not heat. With this plant, we just want the plant to grow. So we're just trying to give it, I guess, these two. We want to give it metabolism and growth. We want to give it 25% of full sunlight. So we can ignore this 50% here. If we focus on how we apply it and what kind of methods we use with our lighting structures, and also what kind of wavelengths we're sending to the plant, we might be able to trim down this 15% loss as well a little bit. Heat dissipation, that's we're just going to outsource that to climate control, so that's not really a change. But anyway, you can see here, like, this is up to 65% of sunlight is something that we don't even need to bother recreating with our artificial light. This is figure 1.1, obviously, from the same researchers from the same book that we were looking at before, showing both historical and predicted luminous efficacy of light sources. So how good are lights at turning energy into light? We start back here, way back at 1940. Some of the lights don't even exist yet. Incandescents begin. We've got, what are these other two? Fluorescence and stuff like that. They're all kind of around here, 10 to maybe 30 or 40 lumens per watt. So lumen, just simplifying things down a little bit, lumens would be brightness, watts is our energy. So our luminous efficacy, our lumens per watt, how bright is it getting to how much energy are we supplying? And so we can see across time, incandescents have barely gained any ground. Halogens, after their initial discovery, they increase a little bit and then they just kind of top out. We see fluorescence and low wattage and high wattage, high intensity discharge bulbs all climbing. We get compact fluorescences being discovered and coming out and being okay. Really, what changes the game is this discovery of LEDs right here. These dotted lines are the predicted or forecast efficacies for these LEDs. This book came out obviously in 2016, so they're forecasting in 2020. It's 2022 right now, and so I can tell you OLEDs from their launch, I don't know, let's say 2008 right here. They started about the same as incandescents and reached this peak just recently. We're at 90 lumens a watt or more for white OLED panels, which is on track with that bar, really. Like, that's what they said 2020, it was actually going to be way up here. So a little bit of a difference, but still all very good, quite competitive, almost as good as any other light on the market. And then our white LED lamps forecasted to just be crushing it at 200 lumens per watt by 2020. We're actually seeing 120 lumens a watt. It's still on the rise. So we see LEDs being competitive, potentially better than any of these other lights on the market. And something not even on this list is the waste heat. So yes, these are quite efficient in terms of how much energy for how much brightness we get. But there's also little waste heat coming off these LEDs, which means we are not, of course that's efficiency again, but it's also, we're not heating our production environment and then having to cool it because it's getting too hot for the crops to grow.